Man, I have read through the comment section of a few other YouTube channels, and my goodness, it can get brutal. But I recently went through all of the feedback on our guitar neck building series, where we talked about the difference between a scarf jointed neck and the one-piece neck, and y'all's feedback was fantastic. One of the comments was around the difference in rigidity actually makes a difference in the neck, kind of counter to the way that I was thinking, that actually having a more rigid neck makes it more susceptible to breaks because it can't take the impact. Just a great way to think through that and talk through the pros and cons of each of the build styles. Well, since y'all gave such great feedback, I thought it would be a really neat opportunity to take in some of that feedback and give it a try. So I took the top 3 things that you talked about, which was a laminated neck, a volute, and then also changing the grain direction so that you had alternating grain when you do the laminated neck. So we're gonna take all of those things and build them at the same time. So let's go make something. We started this neck with this solid quarter sawn block of Spanish cedar. Now the fact that it's quarter sawn means that we have fairly straight grain, but it's still going to be in this large of a piece, you're going to have run out in one direction. What you see here is that this grain is running up and kind of to the right. That happens across all of this block. So you'll see that the grain is actually running out and up in this direction. Now that means when we cut this neck, it's gonna have a tendency to want to twist in that direction. But we can compensate for that by inverting the block. Let me show you. Okay, like we were saying, grain's running out and to the side in these 2 blocks. So the way that we can compensate for that, we've cut the entire block completely in half. We're going to flip this piece upside down, inverted, and now we're going to rotate it. And now we'll have grain running in the opposite direction. This is running out this way, and now the grain is running out this way. So both halves are gonna be pulling equally in the opposite direction, giving us the most stable neck that we can build. Next up, we're gonna take these over to the CNC machine to get the profile of the neck cut out. Now, I don't have a router bit deep enough to be able to get through both blocks simultaneously, so we're gonna cut them individually using the same cut file. When I do that, I need to make sure that I'm cutting down through the grain orientation that we just aligned. So I'm gonna mark both blocks to make sure that we maintain that when we get it over to the machine. Out really nice. I forgot to mention earlier that I was getting 2 necks out of that block, so that's why you saw the double cuts there as we were going through on the CNC machine. But now if I stack both of these together in the order that we cut them and I line them up, you'll be able to see at the very end, now we have the grain running out in 2 separate directions, so opposing directions, so that we get the most stability when we bring these 2 together. Cutting this block down the middle and getting these pieces apart so that we can invert the grain to create that stable neck that we were talking about isn't the only benefit that you get. You can stick in some pieces in the middle now and create a decorative strip. So I've never done this before, but I thought, well, let's just get something that's an offset of the colors. So I've got 2 pieces of walnut and a piece of maple that we can put in there. So if I stack walnut, maple, and then walnut, and put that between the pieces, then I end up with this nice decorative piece down the middle. Oh man, that is cool. To be able to get these to fit, then I need to take each of these pieces over to the CNC machine, cut that same profile that we used on the neck, put that into these, and then we can glue them all in. With those pieces cut, I think we can go ahead and put all of that together, stack those up, put them right between the pieces, line everything up. Yeah, I think that'll work. intended to have a little more footage for you of gluing it together than that, but I got into a little bit of a panic because as I started to put the clamps on, everything started to move and shift. Some of the glue was starting to dry, others was not, and I was all over the map. I should have had a block in there, maybe a jig or something to hold that together, but definitely learning as I go here as well. So apologies for not having the footage. As you can see from the monstrosity of clamps that we have on it, I think we got it where it needs to be without too much shifting and got it back to where it needs to be. But we're gonna let the glue dry and then we'll take a look at that next. Well, as far as I can tell, I think it turned out pretty decent. I sanded it down a little just on the face to flatten it out a little and just make sure, but I mean, it looks pretty decent. It came out kind of nice. Looks like everything is seamed together good, so I think we're ready for the next step. Well, the neck turned out just like we were shooting for. So I've got the main piece done. Now we need to go make the heel block section. What we have left over from what we cut out earlier out of the block are these two long strips. I'm hoping they will be just enough for us to cut out the sections to be able to make the heel block. Now these are already dimensioned correctly from earlier and what we already glued together for the neck, so they'll be perfect for the heel block. We just got to get them down to 3/4 inch pieces so that we can stack the block. Those two pieces are cut, so all that we need is the laminate strips to go down the middle. So let's cut those. Okay, we've got both pieces of the heel block cut. I've got the laminated strips ready to go, so we should be ready to glue everything up. Laminated heel block blank is all ready to go, and we'll get that on the CNC machine in just a minute. But I thought I should stop and actually tell you what we're doing with this and why, because I don't think that I've actually seen anybody else do it this way. With the heel blank on here, what we do is our CNC machine cannot get to the depth of a finished heel block. So the router bit is not long enough to be able to cut through there without running into anything. So we have to cut each piece in the blocks as they're getting stacked. But instead of just cutting them out and hand carving them later, I want to go ahead and let the machine do the work. So what we do is we let it cut out each block that's going to get stacked in its finished dimensions and shape from this blank. And then when we get done, we'll release it from here, stack all of those pieces up, and the heel block will be in finished form minus a little bit of rough sanding. So I think that's mostly going to be the same with this laminated piece because I hadn't done one of those before. I think the only complication from that is that I'm going to have to make sure that when I stack them up, when I'm gluing them, that I get them really straight and aligned, because it's going to be obvious with this laminated strip down the middle if I get them misaligned. So we'll get this on the machine and we'll get them put together. It's a weird process stacking the heel blocks like that after they've already been shaped, and normally it's not a big deal, but with the laminated neck, that line is running right down the middle, so if I don't get them straight, it really shows up on this, so I just had to be a little bit extra careful. Wait, earlier when I was gluing up all of those strips, why didn't I glue all of the main pieces together first before cutting them into strips. So then I only would have been dealing with 3 pieces to glue up instead of 5. But after some sanding, everything is really looking good and shaped out really nice. We've got the nice lamination down the neck. I've got that little volute that we put in there. Everything's shaped up. So this one is really ready for a fretboard, and then we'll get it finished up. I think we were able to incorporate many of the things that you recommended. Now, is this neck more capable? Is it more durable than the other necks that we were talking about and testing previously? Well, that's something I'd like to know. I think we'll do another episode on that. I have the 3-part series, we'll make it 4. Like, there's no rules in this, we can do whatever we want. But this guitar is just about ready for it to find a new home. But I wanted to take a minute just to say thank you. The feedback, the comments, what you invested back into me as a builder from your experiences was really useful and valuable. And for that, I'm very appreciative. So I hope that you enjoyed seeing some of that in the build process. If I messed that up, certainly let me know. If you have even a different way to do that or a way to refine the process, I'd love to hear that too. I want this to continue to be a place where we can continue to invest in each other and learn from our experiences. So thanks again for all of that. I'll see you next time.